Live from ABC7, this is Eyewitness News at 7 p.m. on LA56.
I'm very thankful for each of the jury members.
A jury finds the Boston Marathon bombing suspect guilty on all counts. Now, should he get the death penalty or life in prison?
In the wake of another controversial police shooting, we get a close-up look at the training deputies go through to prepare them to make potentially deadly split-second decisions.
They weren't sure they'd make it. Now they're very grateful. Firefighters save an elderly couple trapped on the top floor of a burning building. What started the fire? Good evening. I'm Rudabe Shabazi in for Colleen Sullivan.
No, David Ono. This is Eyewitness News on LA56, LA's only live local newscast at 7 p.m. Guilty on all 30 counts, Boston bomber Dzhokhar Tsarnaev is now eligible for the death penalty. This after the 7 women and 5 men returned the verdicts after deliberating for just 11 hours. Now those same jurors must decide if he should die. And ABC's Tom Llamas reports from Boston.
Nearly 2 years to the day after Dzhokhar Tsarnaev and his brother committed the worst terror attack in the United States since 9/11, the 21-year-old now facing death row. In court today, victims and their family members there to watch, like Liz Norden, her sons standing right next to Dzhokhar Tsarnaev on Marathon Monday when he planted his bomb.
They both lost the leg below the knee. I really don't know too much because it's just so overwhelming. It's like a nightmare.
Outside of court today, she made it clear she wants Tsarnaev to die.
For myself, I want to see the death penalty.
Tsarnaev, like he has throughout the trial, showed no emotion, angering some of his victims.
He's been, to use my word, arrogant, walking in and out of the courtroom, and completely disinterested.
In court, the parents of 8-year-old Martin Richard held each other, fighting back tears. I asked Mike Ward, a firefighter who tried to save little Martin's life, if Tsarnaev deserves to die.
Ultimate judgment will come to all.
This same jury, selected from a pool of nearly 1,400 people, will decide if Dzhokhar lives or dies. 7 women and 5 men, including a student, a former nurse, and a Coast Guard air traffic controller. They heard testimony from 11 of the marathon bombing victims, including 27-year-old Rebecca Gregory, seen here moments after the first blast took her leg. Today saying she's willing to take the stand again during sentencing.
He should be held accountable for his actions, and I'm very thankful for each of the jury members that are making him do that.
Tonight in Boston, this image. White roses on Boylston Street. This trial, a marathon of pain for victims. It's not over, but tonight, they can see the finish line. The sentencing phase may start as early as Monday with the prosecutors taking the lead, then the defense picks up after that. They will take a break on Marathon Monday, which is April 20th, out of respect for the race. It's unclear if Dzhokhar Tsarnaev will take the stand. He may want to now to fight for his life. After that, the jury will decide if he lives or dies. Tom Llamas, ABC News, Boston.
Rap mogul Suge Knight was in a downtown courtroom this morning for a preliminary hearing on a robbery case. Knight appeared in court chained to a wheelchair after suffering medical incidents at previous court appearances. The judge told the 49-year-old that he could walk into the court next time as long as he was fit to do so. The robbery case involves a photographer who accused Knight and comedian Cat Williams of taking her camera last year. Knight also faces murder and attempted murder charges related to a deadly hit-and-run in Compton.
A grand jury has just indicted millionaire murder suspect Robert Durst on 2 weapons charges in Louisiana. This could further delay his extradition to Los Angeles, where he is charged with the murder of his friend Susan Berman back in 2000. Durst, the subject of the HBO show The Jinx, has waived extradition to L.A., and for now, the real estate heir remains behind bars in Louisiana. He is due back in court tomorrow for arraignment on the weapons charges, as well as the charge of possessing marijuana.
193 years in prison for one of 3 men convicted of robbing a Nordstrom rack store in Westchester 2 years ago. The 2 others were sentenced to decades behind bars as well. They subjected more than a dozen people to a night of terror they will never forget. Tonight, some of their victims spoke out in court.
I hate that you invaded, robbed, and raped my body.
Scathing words in a woman's letter to her rapist read in court today. The victim of a violent and terrifying holdup at this Nordstrom rack in Westchester in January 2013.
I hate feeling worried every morning, noon, and night. I hate the anger inside me. I hate every inch of you. I hate that you threatened my life. I hate that you told lies about me. I hate that you don't care about who I was.
Another victim spoke in court as well.
Every morning when I wake up, I have to remind myself that the attackers won't be able to hurt me today.
Prosecutors say the men forced most of the 14 employees at the clothing store to strip to their underwear. One woman was stabbed in the neck, another sexually assaulted during the hours-long robbery.
Few of us expect to fall victim to an assault and robbery while trying to work and provide for our family. This crime has changed me for the rest of my life.
The convicted robbers showed little emotion in court as they listened to one victim tell the judge the violence left her emotionally handicapped and that she experiences flashbacks. Raymond Sherman Jr., Troy Hammock, and Everett Allen were convicted in March of dozens of counts of second-degree robbery. Sherman was also convicted of rape, forcible oral copulation, and kidnapping. He was sentenced to nearly 200 years in prison. The other two, 37 and 41 years.
I have been afraid to leave my home at times, and as a result of my fear, I missed work for an entire year.
And prior criminal convictions contributed to Sherman's lengthy sentence.
The white South Carolina police officer who fatally shot a black man over the weekend has now been fired. Officer Michael Slager has already been charged with murder. He claims self-defense. However, a bystander's video showed him firing 8 shots at Walter Scott as he tried to run away.
I have watched the video, and I was sickened by what I saw.
This has been a horrible tragedy within our community.
It just tore my heart to pieces. I pray that this never happened to another person. This has got to stop.
The mayor of North Charleston announced that body cameras will be purchased and issued to every police officer on the force. State officials say there may also be dash cam video of this incident. And the decision whether or not to use deadly force is one that law enforcement officers across the country are faced with on a routine basis. And today, Inland Empire Bureau Chief Rob McMillan got a first-hand look at their training and even took part in an exercise.
Sir, Sheriff's Department. How can I help you?
The situation is this. I'm a sheriff's deputy responding to a call about a male subject looking through vehicles.
I'm not accusing you of doing anything wrong. Can you please step over here, sir?
I'm not doing anything wrong. You can go. Thank you very much for your help.
I just want to talk with you, sir.
For the simulation, I put on what's called a stress vest.
Too tight?
That's good.
It's also connected to an electrical charge, where it's going to give you a brief shock so you know you got hit. There's different levels. This is your weapon. We'll get the holster for you.
Pull your hands out of your pockets, please.
In a different scenario, the subject ends up pulling out a gun and starts shooting. But in my scenario, it happens a little differently.
I gave you a command. Please sit on the ground.
You can't command me. You're not my mom.
Please sit on the ground, sir.
Nope. I just want to get in my car.
Sir.
Hey, I'm just trying to get in my car.
Sir.
Okay, here.
I shoot and kill the subject. But as it turns out, he didn't have a gun. He was only pulling out a cell phone. But based on his actions, did I overreact?
You would have to make that decision based off of the information that you have. He might be going in to grab his wallet. He might be going in to grab some type of weapon. It's based off of what you see.
Things happen very, very quick.
San Bernardino County Sheriff John McMahon.
When he pulled something out of his pocket real quick like that, you then thought there was a threat. You saw real life the tough decisions that deputy sheriffs and law enforcement officers across the country have to make every single day.
And in all seriousness, the Sheriff's Department says one good thing I did was keep a safe distance away from the subject. That's for my own safety. But when it came down to diffusing the situation, they say I fell way short. For example, the guy was claiming that car belonged to his girlfriend. I could have quite simply run the plates, determined whether or not he was telling the truth, and the situation might have ended much differently. In Devore, Rob McMillan, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
We now know the name of the young man who died this morning after a deadly jump in the Angeles National Forest. 18-year-old Jesse Youth of Signal Hill was killed after a 50-foot jump into a pond at the bottom of Hermit Falls in the San Gabriel Mountains. 2 friends jumped in to try to rescue him. They were airlifted to the hospital and are being treated for hypothermia. Visitors at the recreation area tell us they're not surprised by today's tragic news.
It's really, really, really unsafe. If you don't jump the right way, if you don't jump further or far enough, then you're going to hit a rock.
Last time we went, we made sure that the water levels were fine. We all went, checked it all out, and we went, and everyone was just super inviting there, so when we jumped, it was a lot of fun.
Authorities have not released the names of the 2 injured.
A couple trapped high in a burning building is safe thanks to the quick work of firefighters. The fire broke out last night, tearing through this 5-story building in the Westlake district. Ricardo Molino and his wife were working late when they became trapped. They could be seen in a window waving for help. Firefighters say they were just able to reach the couple with their ladder truck.
I thought I wasn't going to make it. I had a bad heart problem. I had to open all the windows because we were suffocating.
The Molinos say they were very thankful. The firefighters say other older buildings like this one are not equipped with sprinklers. It took them nearly 80 minutes to finally get the flames under control. The cause of the fire is under investigation. And a vote is expected tomorrow on a record $1.6 billion penalty in the deadly natural gas pipeline explosion in the Bay Area. Nearly 5 years ago, a 1950s-era Pacific Gas and Electric line blew in San Bruno, killing 8 people, injuring 58 others, and destroying nearly 40 homes. If the State Public Utilities Commission approves the penalty, it would be the largest ever imposed.
Up next, an update on a little boy rescued after being alone in the woods for days.
Plus, what a heist, thieves dropping into an elevator shaft to steal hundreds of millions in jewels.
And imagine seeing this at the beach. Who wins when a bobcat squares off with a shark?
And sold-out prom, why local students are being told they can't get tickets to their own high school dance.
And after the rain, beautiful day today, but kind of cool. Details on when spring returns in the 7-day forecast. Right.
Tonight, an investigation is underway into a brazen heist in London. A gang of thieves outsmarting a sophisticated alarm system, breaking through metal doors, making off with a staggering amount of diamonds and jewels. Here's ABC's Hamish McDonald.
Worthy of Ocean's 11, this heist is breathtaking in its audacity. Hundreds of millions of dollars worth of high-value goods are stored on this one street alone, potentially making this one of the largest heists in recent history. Reports suggest the thieves entered this building, coming in through an elevator shaft, dropping down to the basement, where they used heavy cutting machinery to break through an 18-inch reinforced metal door to the vault, breaking into between 60 to 70 deposit boxes. James Riley has been inside the vault where the goods were taken.
I'm sure whoever's planned it has planned exactly what they're going to steal.
It could be straight out of the film The Bank Job, where London robbers dig a tunnel to reach their loot. Through these doors, down some stairs, is where the vault is. Whoever did this knew the location intimately. This woman arrived to check on her prized possessions. How much?
Maybe 100,000, more than that.
A slow and painstaking investigation is already underway, but it's thought that this was a highly professional operation and that whatever it is they took is already out of the UK. Hamish MacDonald, ABC News, London.
A little boy with autism who was lost in the Australian wilderness for 4 days is now recovering in the hospital. In this photo, you see the 11-year-old Luke Shambrook reunited with his rescuers. Doctors say he is still weak and tired, but is starting to get his energy back. He survived without food or water and temperatures near freezing at night. One expert believes his autism may have helped in this situation.
His level of fear would not have been what ours was, that he was not actually engaging in being scared of his surroundings or being lost out in the bush.
Rescuers say they just barely spotted something on the ground and turned the helicopter around for a closer look. Luke was hungry and hypothermic when they finally reached him, but doctors say he's expected to make a full recovery.
Well, sharks are usually ferocious predators, but a bobcat managed to turn the tables on one in Florida. Take a look at this guy's catch. As you can see, the bobcat is the victor in this matchup. A man on vacation was walking along the beach when he spotted the bobcat about 50 feet away. He says it pounced on the shark and dragged it out of the water. The man got this picture on his iPhone, but he says when the bobcat spotted him, it dropped the shark and ran off. Wildlife officials say it's not unusual to see bobcats in the area, but that bobcat fishing for a shark is pretty rare.
Seriously.
I love how between the bobcat, the shark, and the human is the most scary. We scared the bobcat away, who scared the shark. That's scary. You know what? Yeah, rain yesterday. We needed it. We got some. We got about maybe about 3/10 of an inch. I want to say at the most, but generally that was sort of the top end of things. Really not a lot, but as we head to this weekend, we're watching a system that right now doesn't look like it could bring some rain, but maybe as the week goes on. In the meantime, look at this, guys. Watch the bottom left of your screen. That is ice. It's from a time-lapse today, right? Watch this. This is the Running Springs time-lapse. I'm going to put into motion here. In about 20 minutes, it's melted. Pretty cool. It's cool when it's on a time-lapse. If you just saw that in regular life watching, it probably wouldn't be, but that's pretty nice to see that. Check that out. Okay, almanac today. Highs were around 70 degrees. Normally we're at 72, so we're warming up. In fact, by tomorrow we'll be right at normal. And the lows were a little bit cold this morning, 49. Normally we're at 53. As we go through tonight, it's going to be another kind of chilly one. 64 already in downtown as we cool it off. 55 Palmdale, you guys have a freeze warning this evening. We'll look at it in just a moment. 39 Big Bear, 75 Palm Springs. We're in the 60s pretty much everywhere else. 66 Santa Clarita, 62 Van Nuys. In fact, warmer than it was this time yesterday. This is what that map right here is showing you, that we are 10 degrees warmer in Ontario and Burbank than we were this time yesterday. 7 degrees warmer in LA than this time yesterday. 5 degrees warmer in Palm Springs than this time yesterday. So we're warming things up, but we got to get through tonight. A cold one. In fact, here you go in the Antelope Valley there, Palmdale, Lancaster, a freeze warning. Through, this begins Thursday, goes through Thursday at 9 a.m., so we're actually looking for that to go into effect then. Now, going through tomorrow and into the rest of the forecast, high temperatures in the afternoon are going to warm up at or above average, but we're watching a system that's off to our west, and I'll show you here in the future scan as we go through the extended. Right now, it looks like it's going to pass to the south of us, but if it changes direction, and you can see it right there on the left of your screen, watch the path of that over the next several days, getting closer and closer, but it's moving southeast. If it takes a different trajectory, we could see a little bit of rain potentially for the weekend, but right now, we're going to keep it dry, maybe some clouds at the coast, and then temperatures go in this way up, which we like, if you don't like the cold weather, that is. 72 in Los Angeles, very spring-like. It's right there at average tomorrow. 77 in Riverside, mid-70s there in Ontario and Beaumont. Okay, so the 7-day forecast for LA Metro and Orange County, powered up by AccuWeather. Regardless of rain, looks like we'll at least get some additional cloud cover with that system. So we'll bring in the clouds Friday on through most of that forecast. Temperatures right there around 72. Valleys, IE, we're warming you up into the mid-70s by Saturday. So morning fog possibly. Otherwise, a nice afternoon ahead for the whole weekend, in fact, and into next week, too, with temperatures right around the lower 70s. The beach forecast looks like a cool one in the morning, but you're nearing 70 by the weekend. Morning fog with that system. No rain for anybody at this moment, but again, we'll have to watch out for that as we get a little bit closer
closer to Saturday. The mountain forecast chilly tonight, 22 in the morning, 53 as you head through Thursday afternoon. And then the high desert temperatures, again, you're going to be below freezing tonight with breezes kicking in for tomorrow in through Sunday. More weather coming up in a few minutes. Back to you guys.
All right. Thanks, Jonathan. Well, it's prom season, but students at one local school have a big problem. There are no tickets left. That's because they say the school picked a venue that's too small to accommodate all the students. Inland Empire reporter Leticia Juarez has more on the prom drama.
And the back's like that.
Landon Ray has the perfect dress.
And then I just love mermaid, so I had to get mermaid.
And the sparkly shoes to dance the night away at her high school prom. The only thing she doesn't have is a ticket to go.
I know, it's something I've always dreamed about going to.
One look at Eleanor Roosevelt High School's website explains why. Tickets to this Saturday's prom are sold out. That has left many students upset.
It does make me mad. It does. Because now that's one in a lifetime thing I can't go to now, you know.
The Corona-Norco Unified School District says prom tickets went on sale 4 weeks ago. Students were told to buy their tickets early, especially seniors.
While prom tickets had been advertised for weeks in advance, students here tell us there was just one problem. The venue booked for the event is too small.
There's over 1,000 juniors alone, and then there's another 1,000 seniors, and they're expecting half of one class to go.
So far, all 865 tickets are spoken for. David Metters bought 2 early on, but has several friends who will be staying home.
Well, I do think it's kind of unfair for the other, mainly seniors for that matter, because it's their last year and they can't go to a senior prom.
There is a waiting list.
I know juniors are turning in their tickets, refunds, so the seniors could go, and that's really sweet of them. So it's just a matter of time just waiting.
Her wait is over. Not long after our interview, Ray called to say she got a ticket. In Eastville, Leticia Juarez, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Well, at least she got one.
Yeah, at least she got one.
Yeah, the poor other folks go. Well, up next, is it the next big thing on the bike path?
Yeah, we're getting a first ever look at a screaming fast one-wheeled electronic scooter.
And ahead at 7:30, a nationwide backlash after a local judge cuts the sentence of a man convicted of sexually assaulting a 3-year-old girl. And we have local reaction. Australian researchers are putting the memory and intelligence of stingrays to the test, and so far they've gotten incredible results. The scientists from James Cook University are training stingrays held in captivity to recognize special targets in return for a treat. Choosing the right shapes leads to food. Their objective is to improve the quality of life for these stingrays, which they say tend to become bored while being confined.
We have to keep them thinking, keep them moving, and give them something different in their day-to-day routine. If they respond to the targets, we can of course move them easier both around the exhibit, and if they're quite happy to follow that, even if we needed to move them between exhibits, it's actually a lot simpler than it seems, because these guys have caught on so incredibly well.
This type of target practice has been used before to help sharks, but this is the first time it's being tested on stingrays.
What do you get when you cross a Segway with a unicycle? Something like this. It's called the 9Bot1, a robotic one-wheeled electric scooter. All you have to do is shift your body weight to go at up to 12 miles per hour, and you better keep your balance because there's nothing to hold on to. These toys aren't cheap though, they cost around $900.
Pretty cool.
I know what David's getting for Christmas.
I'm going to be needing a helmet or two as well. Mouthpiece, you name it. We're updating the evening's top stories next at 7:30.
Including an all-out manhunt for a local father who vanished after being accused of causing the crash that killed his 5-year-old daughter.
Burglars break into a woman's home, taking valuables and her late husband's ashes. Tonight, she's speaking out to Eyewitness News.
Live from ABC7, This is Eyewitness News at 7:30 p.m. on LA56.
Top story at 7:30, convicted on all counts. Now the question is whether Boston bomber Johar Tsarnaev will get the death penalty. I'm David Ono.
And I'm Ruta Shabazi in for Colleen Sullivan. This is Eyewitness News on LA56, LA's only live local newscast at 7 p.m. The jury found Tsarnaev guilty on all 30 charges in the deadly 2013 Boston Marathon bombing, including conspiracy and use of a weapon of mass destruction. 17 of those are punishable by death. In the next phase of the trial, jurors must decide whether Tsarnaev will get the death penalty or spend the rest of his life in prison.
The South Carolina police officer who shot and killed a black man has now been fired. Officer Michael Slager has already been charged with murder. A bystander's video showed him firing 8 shots at Walter Scott as he tried to run away. The mayor of North Charleston says body cameras will be issued to every police officer on the force.
Tonight, authorities need your help finding a father accused of killing one of his daughters in a crash more than a year ago. It was all caught on surveillance video. The man has not been seen since posting bail several weeks after his arrest. Orange County Bureau Chief Eileen Frere has details from San Juan Capistrano.
Watch the top of the screen. A black SUV speeds through a parking lot and slams head-on into an embankment in San Juan Capistrano. Inside, the 33-year-old driver, Antolin Brito Soto, and his 4 young children. 3 are injured. The 4th child, Juliana, just 5 years old, seen here in this photo, courtesy of the Capistrano Dispatch, died in the crash.
They were not properly restrained, which is the reason that one of them was pronounced deceased there at the scene and why the other children were injured pretty significantly.
The San Juan Capistrano resident suspected of child abuse and vehicular manslaughter.
Investigators believe that he was under the influence of alcohol and he was subsequently arrested that evening.
That was just over a year ago. He spent several weeks in jail before posting $100,000 bail. Now he's considered a fugitive after he failed to show up in court.
I know he does have strong ties to the San Juan Capistrano area where the collision occurred, has some family members, maybe an ex-wife or an ex-girlfriend that live in that area.
Brito Soto is 5'3", 150 pounds, with black hair and brown eyes.
It is a very serious crime. It resulted in the death of his 5-year-old daughter. So our traffic investigators are taking this case very seriously, and we're making every effort we can to bring him to justice.
Now, authorities say he does have ties in Mexico, Texas, and just outside the Chicago area in Illinois. If you've seen him, call Orange County Crime Stoppers at 1-855-TIP-OCCS. You can give information anonymously. In San Juan Capistrano, Eileen Frere, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Santa Ana Superior Court judge is coming under increasing pressure to resign after reducing the sentence for a convicted child sex offender. There are calls in several Facebook pages and a petition on change.org for Judge M. Mark Kelly to step down. Kelly, seen here in a photo from the Daily Journal, recently reduced the sentence for 20-year-old Kevin Rojano Nieto from 25 to 10 years. In December, Rojano Nieto was convicted of forcibly sodomizing a 3-year-old girl who's a relative. Judge Kelly called the mandatory minimum sentence of 25 years to life cruel and unusual.
He's a grown man. He knowingly and reprehensibly committed this terrible crime and should pay the price.
Incarceration is not the answer. What he needs is some sort of therapy.
We reached out to Judge Kelly today and the Orange County Superior Court, but neither had any comment.
Alaska Airlines is apologizing for kicking a cancer patient off a flight from Hawaii to San Jose. The mother of 2 posted a video on social media which has created quite a stir.
My family is being forcibly removed from an airplane because I have cancer. No note to fly.
Elizabeth Sedway has been battling cancer for 5 years. At the gate in Hawaii, she put on a surgical mask because people around her were sick. An agent asked her if she was okay, and she said this.
Sometimes I get a little weak. And so she said, well, in that case, I'm going to need to call the doctors that we consult with.
Alaska Airlines on-call doctor determined Sedway couldn't fly and that she was then taken off the plane, even though her oncologist sent an email okaying her to fly. The airline initially refused to refund Sedway's airfare, but after the incident went viral, they apologized, saying they should have handled the situation differently, and they refunded her tickets. Sedway returned home last night.
An elderly Arcadia woman, the target of thieves posing as utility workers to distract her. Her husband's ashes were among the items stolen. And Eyewitness News reporter Leon Suter has more. from the distraught woman as she makes a plea to get them back.
Well, it was a solid color.
Working with a sketch artist, Betty Snelling helps create this composite of the cold-hearted suspect who helped steal her husband's ashes.
Just say hello to him in the morning, goodbye at night.
Heartbroken, Snelling can't believe her husband of 56 years is gone. Byron Snelling died 5 years ago.
The box was over here.
But his wife kept the polished wood box containing his ashes by her bedside, waiting for the day they would be together once again.
I promised him that after I died, they would take the two of us to New Mexico.
Tuesday morning, the suspect, posing as a utility worker, targeted the elderly grandmother in her Arcadia home.
Wanted to see the light pole in the back, and so they had to have me accompany them, and so I locked the front door, went out the back, did not lock the back door.
As the suspect distracted Snelling in the backyard, an accomplice snuck in the house, stealing jewelry and cash and the polished 12-inch square wood box containing her husband.
I kept thinking, well, maybe they'll just bring it back. You know, just bring it back, knowing what it is. It's no use to anybody.
The suspect is described as a Hispanic man in his 40s, around 5'9", with a slim build. Police are hoping the public will be able to help match a name with the face. Snelling is just hoping the thieves will do the right thing.
Turn it back to the police, take it back down to the police, turn it in. And, because it's no good to anybody else, you know, no, doesn't mean anything to anybody, except our whole family.
If you recognize the suspect or have any information on the burglary or the stolen ashes, you're urged to contact Arcadia Police. Their number is 626-574-5156. Snelling says the urn doesn't have any identification on it. She's just praying it will be returned. In Arcadia, Leanne Suter, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
The drought has made life tough for farmers and growers in California. Some say they need to cut back on the water they use on their crops. For example, when you consider water and feed for chickens, it takes almost 24 gallons of water to produce one egg. But there could be some good news on the horizon for farmers near San Diego. A new Carlsbad desalination plant will soon start providing fresh water for farmers and others in the county.
The Carlsbad desalination plant will provide 50 million gallons per day of water to residents in San Diego County. That's about 7% of the need in San Diego, or about 300,000 people.
The water for the Carlsbad plant comes from the ocean. The plant is expected to open in October or November. And Eyewitness News is committed to helping you beat the drought, and we want to hear your ideas. Join the circle of eyewitnesses and tell us what you're doing to save water, or share pictures or video when you see water being wasted. Just post on social media with the hashtag ABC7Drought.
It's a vision of Los Angeles many of us wouldn't recognize, a greener city of the future with Angelenos riding bikes, taking trains, and walking. And today, Mayor Eric Garcetti outlined an ambitious plan to make Los Angeles the most sustainable big city in the country. Eyewitness News reporter Robert O'Gein takes a closer look.
From water consumption to transportation to solar power, it's a vision for the future of Los Angeles, a place where freeways are less congested and where housing is more affordable.
This is not a plan for the shelves. This is a plan of action.
Mayor Eric Garcetti unveiled the city's first sustainability plan at a news conference in Echo Park this morning. The 108-page book lays out an ambitious set of goals, which include a reduction in air pollution and an investment in parks and open spaces. The plan also calls for a 20% reduction in household water use by 2017 and a 50% reduction in imported water by 2025.
The people of LA have stepped up, and we are down by 8% already of that 20% goal that we need to accomplish by 2017.
Some of the proposals call for lifestyle changes, specifically an end to our love affair with cars. In fact, according to the plan, by 2035, 50% of our trips in Los Angeles should be done by foot, by bike, or by mass transit.
I don't think that I have to tell Angelenos what to do. I think Angelenos are doing it. Go to Ciclavia, and I'm not telling people, get out of your car and get on a bike. They're demanding that they have a safe space and places to get on their bikes.
Some Angelenos were skeptical about the plan.
I think that would be a pretty big infrastructural shift.
Others felt like the proposals are long overdue.
They're absolutely laudable goals.
The plan doesn't specify how the city plans to pay for some of the proposals, but the city's chief sustainability officer says setting goals is an important first step.
So we can show the progress and align the budget priorities, align the staffing within the departments to drive those outcomes.
Reporting from Echo Park, Robert Olguin, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Up next, what lawmakers are doing to stop tuition hikes at California's public universities.
Plus, emotional testimony at the state capitol as lawmakers consider a bill that would require California school children to be vaccinated.
And a bold prediction from the chief scientist at NASA, why she believes we'll find alien life within the next 30 years.
And we have a freeze warning in effect for portions of Southern California. Details on that and when it finally warms back up in the 70s.
A proposal to prevent tuition increases at University of California campuses has cleared its first legislative hurdle. The state Senate's Education Committee has unanimously approved the bill, and it says the legislature intends to direct more money to the UC and CSU systems as a way to forestall the 5% tuition increase the UC Board of Regents has approved for the upcoming school year. The bill also seeks to increase enrollment and course offerings, as well as expand California's college financial aid program.
Now on to that emotionally charged hearing at the California legislature as parents and doctors on both sides of the issue speak out on a bill that would require school children to be vaccinated. Eyewitness News reporter Alex Michelson has an update.
I will do whatever it takes that this bill will not pass.
Passionate pleas from parents at the first public hearing in Sacramento for a bill that would require all children attending public or private schools in California to be vaccinated against diseases like measles, even if their parents have religious or moral objections to vaccinations.
Mother of three, one of whom is vaccine damaged, and I strongly oppose.
The bill prompts a lengthy public comment. Most lining up are opposed.
I'm an extremely healthy, unvaccinated child, and I strongly oppose SB7.
State Senator Richard Pan, who is also a pediatrician, is sponsoring this bill in Sacramento after seeing a recent measles outbreak that began at Disneyland.
These are diseases that are preventable. We do not need to have these diseases come back.
Dr. Pan says reports that vaccines cause autism have been widely discredited in the medical community.
If you decide you don't want to vaccinate your child, you can still do that. You'll just have to homeschool your child so they're not with other children where they may actually be able to infect other children.
This was the first committee hearing for this bill, but it still needs to go to several other committees before it's even put up for a vote.
if it eventually passes, California would join Mississippi and West Virginia as the states with the strictest vaccine policies. Reporting from the newsroom, Alex Michelson, ABC7, Eyewitness News.
A bold new prediction about extraterrestrials from the folks at NASA. The space agency's chief scientist not only believes in the likelihood of alien life forms, she thinks we'll start to see the proof within the next 10 years, and she thinks we'll have concrete evidence within 20 to 30 years. But before you get too excited or too worried, she says it won't be little green men saying, "Take me to your leader." She says it's likely to be tiny alien microbes, at least to begin with.
Take her word for it. Another big warm-up on the way. Meteorologist Jonathan Novak has his complete forecast up next.
Plus, the former Orange County prep star helps lead UConn to a women's basketball three-peat.
And we'll show you the new drought-resistant garden at Descanso Gardens and the lessons they have for your home that could help you beat the drought. We finally got a little bit of the rain we've been asking for. Let's check in now with meteorologist Jonathan Novak to see if there's more on the way.
This is the meteorological thing. You do this.
A little bit's better than none, though,
yeah,
right?
Just tiny. Yeah, that's true. You're right. You're the optimist. That's really good. All right, a little bit's better than none. We'll take it. Even some snow in the mountains. It's a time lapse here from Angeles National Forest. Beautiful to see that. And generally yesterday we got, I mentioned earlier about in the top end, about 3/10. We had just over that in Beverly Hills and Fullerton, where you got a little bit of a downpour yesterday. Ventura, 0.23 and 2/10 in Oxnard. Just in Burbank, 9/100ths of an inch of rain. Not a lot, and it's 65 now in Burbank as we look at the current conditions. Pretty clear out there. Calm winds for the most part, although a little breezy at the coast, onshore at 1463 in Long Beach. That's your current temperature. So coolish evening in store. In fact, a very cold one in some areas. I had mentioned a little bit earlier on in the newscast, a freeze warning in the Antelope Valley as you go through tomorrow morning. Right now it is 55 in Palmdale, 75 in Palm Springs, a lot of 60s to go around here in Southern California. We're going to cool it off tonight into the 50s for the most part in the inland spots there, but freezing there in the Palmdale-Lancaster area. And this is a freeze warning. It goes from Thursday 3 a.m. to 9 a.m. That's when we're going to be seeing those temperatures below 32 degrees. What happens after that? We start warming up, but not a ton. We're actually going to pay attention to a system that's off to the west of us. First of all, here's a system that rolled through and brought us the rain. It's now to the northeast of our area, heading into the Plains states. And behind that was colder air, of course, on a cold front. That's what you're obviously getting there, that northwest flow. To the west of all this is another system. You can kind of make it out all way off to the west, off to the left of your screen, and it really shows up well in the future scan as it develops over the next 24 hours. That's it. That circle you see, what we call vorticity, or just spin in the atmosphere. This is 6 p.m. on Friday. Now watch what happens Saturday and Sunday. You'll see it dip down out of your screen south of our area, still bringing some energy near us. The question is, it's going to change trajectory at all. That could bring a chance of rain. But right now we're going to keep it south and keep just some clouds in the area. Temperatures pretty steady, around 72 or so in the LA region for tomorrow and on through the rest of the forecast. 77 in Riverside, 68 Apple Valley. Highs tomorrow in Dana Point, 66, and Irvine should top out around 70 degrees for your Thursday. 7-day forecast for LA Metro and Orange County. Powered up by AccuWeather. Sunny, a little warmer tomorrow. Today's high in LA was 70, so we'll warm it up a couple degrees. We'll pretty much keep it there, give or take a degree or two, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, even on into Monday, with some clouds around. Now, again, the question is, these clouds are coming from that onshore push with the system that goes to the south of us. The question, again, will be if that changes at all. It might influence any rain chances. Right now, it's just too low to keep it in the forecast, so just dry. Valleys, IE, a nice mild one here through Friday, and then Saturday, Sunday, some clouds, and temperatures warming up to the mid-70s. The beach forecast looks really nice, a little cool tonight. In fact, in the next few days, in the morning time, temperatures nearing 70 by Saturday. The mountains, very cold this evening, 22 with highs only in the 50s the next few days. You're into the 60s after that, and the high desert, watch out for that freeze warning this evening. 30 for a low tomorrow, in the 70s for the afternoon is good. That's it for me. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Jonathan. Last night was a historic night for UConn's women's basketball coach, Gino Auriemma. He coached the Huskies to a national championship for the 10th time. That's the same number of titles John Wooden had at UCLA. 4 years ago, Kalina Mosqueda Lewis from Anaheim Hills and Mater Dei High School received the Gatorade High School Player of the Year award from Lisa Leslie. She headed east and has been a key member of a UConn team that has won 3 straight championships in her time there. She scored 15 points in last night's victory over Notre Dame, and her contributions were recognized by Coach Auriemma.
Every senior that plays college basketball wants to win their last game in their career. And I'm happy for Kay that she got a chance to do that. And I'm glad that the 2 buckets that Kay made down the stretch were kind of the difference in the game. And that's the way she's supposed to go out.
It meant a lot to be able to, step up for my teammates in a big time where they needed me. And definitely kind of had in the back of my mind that, we wanted to go out with a national championship, and being able to hold that trophy up at the end of the game and end my senior year the way I wanted to was amazing.
On to golf before the Masters tees off. They had a little fun at Augusta with the par 3 contest. Jack Nicklaus has a record 6 green jackets, but he's never had a hole-in-one on these hallowed grounds. And before his round, Jack predicted a hole-in-one, and true to his word, the Golden Bear finally has his ace at Augusta, one of 4 hole-in-ones on the day. Tiger Woods playing the par 3 for the first time since 2004. His kids, Sam and Charlie, caddying for him, and girlfriend Lindsey Vonn by their side. Tiger hit the ball well. His tee shot off the 8th hole, tracking towards a cup, and he nearly gets the hole-in-one. Missed it by about an inch. Tiger can't believe that didn't go in. And Rory McIlroy letting his caddy, Niall Horan, from One Direction tee off on the 9th hole, and that's a bit to the left, and as you can tell from his reaction, he was a bit nervous.
Well, more and more people are giving up their lawns to save water during this drought. The question is, what do you put in its place? Eyewitness News reporter Giovanna Lara reports from Descanso Gardens with some tips on water-wise landscaping.
This is what water-wise landscaping can look like. This new look for LA, created by Form LA Landscaping for Descanso Garden's new Center Circle garden. The goal, to inspire Angelenos to create their own water-wise gardens at home.
So the whole garden has been designed to illustrate a handful of really simple ideas that anyone can do to get started.
Those ideas include underground irrigation that directs water straight to the roots of plants and avoids evaporation and runoff. Lots of mulch on the surface of the soil to keep water in. And plant selection, that's key. All these plants, even the turf, are either native to California or from places with Mediterranean climates like our own and require 40 to 70% less water to thrive.
You don't have to do everything in order to do something.
Descanso Garden's executive director David Brown suggests you start at home by removing a portion of the turf or grass in your yard. That's what Descanso Garden started doing several years ago to reduce its water use. The park also improved water features and its irrigation system, which leads us to another tip for Angelenos. Try watering your yard just once a week. You may find out you were overwatering your plants all along.
We're never going to be a place that has consistent rainfall every year. So let's build our gardens so that they can be beautiful for every year, not just the years we have a lot of rain.
Giovanna Lotta, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
More news straight ahead here at 7:30, including amazing video when a dog took a boy for a walk. A closer look up next.
And ahead tonight on Eyewitness News at 11 on ABC7, police want you to see this man's picture. He's a pediatric nurse, but authorities say he may also be a child predator. Plus, how your height is connected to your risk of heart disease. These stories and all the late-breaking news on Southern California's #1 late newscast, Eyewitness News at 11 on ABC7.
A family in Gaza Strip hosts an unusual pair of house guests. These two lion cubs moved in about a month ago. The man of the house adopted Mona and Alex from a struggling zoo. He says the 3-month-old cubs don't pose a danger to his kids right now at least, but in a few months that will change. He plans to keep the cubs until they're old enough to move to a local park where they'll become part of an exhibit to educate locals about lions.
Dashcam video from the Czech Republic captures this. A boy trying to walk his dog, but instead it looked like the dog was walking him. The kid was being pulled across the street by a giant, over-enthusiastic St. Bernard. St. Bernard apparently spotted another human and his dog on the other side of the street and took off in full gallop. The boy has a few scrapes, but is otherwise okay.
Adorable. Well, thanks for joining us for Eyewitness News at 7:30 on LA56. Law and Order SVU is coming up next on LA56.
Have a great night.